everybody, and welcome to the P.R.A.I.S.E podcast. It is officially 2023. You are listening to the P.R.A.I.S.E podcast in the new year, and today we are really excited because today is a season finale.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, not a series finale.
Yeah.
Season finale. We are ending season 1 of the P.R.A.I.S.E podcast this year. Well, 2023, the first day of 2023 in a way. And then we're going to start a brand new season 2, a new era, a new season of the P.R.A.I.S.E podcast will be coming your way. But this episode we're really excited about because really this is going to be an opportunity for Brooke and I to pause from all the chaos that has happened really over the last year. And we're just going to attempt to look back and reminisce and just celebrate some of the cool things that have happened through not only this podcast, but just ministry, life in general. And hopefully as we, what is it? I was going to say commemorate, but I feel like that's not the right word. Is that the right word?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know if that's, what does commemorate mean?
I don't know. Google it.
I don't want to take the time to do it. I'll just use a different word.
Someone email us help.
Yeah. What does commemorate mean? I feel like that feels like somebody died if you commemorate them.
I don't know.
Does that mean, well, everybody's alive and kicking here. So anyways, we're just going to look back and I'm going to use smaller words. I'm not going to use such large words. But so it's going to be good. Brooke, how was your Christmas break?
It was busy. It wasn't much of a break regarding rest, but it was a break in a productive way. Just we had a lot of appointments for the kids that have been on the books forever. And then with Bryce, just things with him and his tiptoe walking, he got his cast off, and just why not just be so super pregnant and be doing all of this, with him and that. But
so what is 31? 31 today.
31 weeks today. Yeah.
Wow.
And in also your defense with your intro, it is still 2022. So our minds can be here at 2022 to just put a period on it and move along to the next year.
This podcast will release though.
It will release in 2023, yes. But just for my, listeners' sake, I guess. It feels good to be at the very, very end of the year as we're having this conversation and, reflect on, just Christmas at Central. And that is always a great way to end the year. And then, you have that week off work here throughout the church. But like I said, mine wasn't really restful, but it was productive. But then, you do get just a minute just to kind of be okay, look what the Lord has done. And then just, I don't know, put a pin in it and then move on to the next year. So it's exciting to kind of be at that point. Yeah, you don't really get to sit around, in ministry at least it feels like, you don't really get to sit around and soak in things all that often because it's really pretty much hey, that was cool. Let's celebrate that. And on to the next. Yeah, well, because you really are. I don't think people get it, but they could try, but it's just, you really are you're in a really cool event, but you've got 3 other events in your head that you're already working on and working towards, so it really is super challenging sometimes to be totally present in the one event that you're doing or leading or participating in. And then there really isn't, I guess there could be time, maybe that's on us for not making as much time to sit and reflect, but it really is just go, 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 all the time. So,
So real quick, just so I'm not crazy.
Did you Google it?
Commemorate. It's a verb. So it means it's what you do.
It is. Yeah, that's good.
So then the definition is to recall and show respect for someone or something. So,
you weren't terribly
too
wrong.
Far off. It
wouldn't have been the word I would have picked.
Well, the use it in a sentence is a wreath-laying ceremony to commemorate the war dead. So, it was not as close as I had probably hoped, but it wasn't far off. Anyways, that's beside the point.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm really glad you did that.
I'm not completely crazy. But no, that's good. That's good. So that's kind of what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
Brooke and I are just going to kind of look back and P.R.A.I.S.E podcast has been going for almost a year
over
and a
a year
half now.
Yeah, I was to say, I know it's been over a year, but
and so
I don't remember when we started.
But 2022 is our first full calendar year.
Yes.
Of doing the podcast.
Well, of anything together,
yes.
Ministry-wise. I was just thinking about that today. Is my 2021 my 2022. And I'm sure now my 2023 is going to blend together like one big long year. I saw a thing on Facebook the other day that said, was anybody else's January to June different from their like July to December, like a totally different year? And I was like, listen, it's been so crazy. But our first full year of ministry from a calendar, January to December was this year. It was 2022 from top to bottom. So it kind of felt like 2021 when we ended that, we were able to kind of, I don't know, just get our, what do they say? Put your toes in the water and feel it out.
Yeah.
But then 2022, we just took off in the best way ever, which was, do you remember how we started 2022?
Praise party.
Heck yeah. Woo!
Yeah. Which I'm kind of sad we're not doing this year.
Yeah.
But I'm also okay with it.
My body's very glad we're not, but like spiritually, I'm like, oh, I kind of miss it.
Yeah. So everybody doesn't think I'm like a complete jerk of a boss. I mean, normally I would be like, yeah, I don't care. We're doing it, whatever. Mm-hmm. Everybody figure it out. But this year,
you're a little nicer than
this year, because New Year's Eve falls on a Saturday.
Right.
We would have Friday night church, and then we would do basically a midnight service on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then our crew would have to come back in
like
at basically 7 a.m. for 8 o'clock service on Sunday. And I thought, that feels like probably
Happy New Year.
Yeah, that feels like pushing it a little bit more than we should. So,
but it was 2022 really started off great. Like that was I loved that. I don't know if we've ever done anything like that before. I mean, I'm not that I've been a part of, but I'm not sure like if you have or if the church has or whatever.
I think that was the first. That was the first that I can remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, leave it up to a couple sevens.
Yeah, midnight. But yeah, no, that was a super cool. I'm trying to find this scripture, and I'm just struggling right now. So there's a scripture that I think it's in. I don't know. It's either in Numbers or Deuteronomy. But I was gonna do like a really cool thing, and be like, looking back is a scriptural thing to do, because I know it is, because somewhere in either Deuteronomy or Numbers
it says that
it says to to like look back and remember all that the Lord has done. And I know the verse, I just don't know where it's at in there.
Just
but
Google the verse.
Well, I did, and it's just not working out. But anyways,
that's okay, you tried.
We did try. And that's the goal of today. Is to look back, remember what the Lord has done. So that being said, we did just come off Christmas at Central. Mm-hmm. If you didn't get to see that, be a part of that worship with us. Obviously, the weather was kind of a bummer the last 2 nights. But you can go to YouTube, Central Now, either search Central Now on YouTube or just Central Christian Church on YouTube. It'll pop up. You can watch it there. It's worth your time, worth your watch on
sweet.
That. But yeah, it was just a really cool, impactful night, and the best reason was because we got to celebrate 8 baptisms from Christmas at Central, and then on Christmas Day, we did number 9 on Christmas Day at our Christmas Day service. And so over that span of 5 days to have 9 baptisms was super cool.
Yeah, I was really praying for. I mean, we've talked about it before, I'm sure, but like our heart behind just what we felt the Lord was, showing, revealing, leading us to for Christmas at Central really was just the gospel story, and the parallel between how, people were longing for Jesus to come, just like, the scripture said that he would, and the teaching said that he would. I mean, they were so hopeless at that time with everything going on. And like when, the Christmas song that's like, a thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices. I mean, that really was it. It was just this, when he came and he was born, this thrill and this rush of hope and renewal and light and promise and goodness just flooded these people who believed in him and the Holy Scripture. And then, you just think to now, like I said, the parallel to now is just, it's the same thing. A bunch of his people who, cling to the Holy Word and like the promise that he's going to come back. But like the thrill of hope that we have of, just coming to like adore him and being in complete adoration of who he is and what he did and what he is still in the business of doing. And so we still have people who need hope so desperately and who need a savior and who need him. And so it was really cool just to really be able to create a worship environment that sets the, our vision on him and what he came to do, what he did, what he's, still, how he still works and moves. But like John's sermon of just beholding the King and like, I don't know, it being truly like highlighting like the salvation story, and the gospel. It was just so powerful. And so, I mean, of course we were just praying for people to, be saved, be baptized. We were praying that. It planted seeds across the board. And I don't know, like we're encouraged by testimonies we've heard already that, God did exactly just that through the power of the Holy Spirit. So, I mean, yeah, it was super cool to be a part of and just to see it all come together. Oh yeah, it was just awesome. So it's always the highlight of the year in ministry for me.
Yeah, it's
the most exhausting, but definitely the highlight.
It is something to be a part of, something to see. But yeah, it really is. I don't know what, at the end of it, I'm always sad when it's over. And at the end of it, it's just really cool. I mean, we've been blessed now the last 2 years that, we've pretty well got to celebrate baptisms every night, you know, of a Christmas service, which is,
it's huge.
I mean, which the honestly, my favorite night ended up being Thursday night, which was our Snowmageddon, where it was like negative 50 outside and it only snowed like an inch, but it was just snow tornadoing everywhere and it was crazy. We went ahead and had services. Yeah. And I mean, in the night we celebrated 2 baptisms at the end of that, And so, I mean, I think we had probably only like 400 or 500 people total for the night, which, for a Christmas service.
We were like, where's everybody at?
Way low, but obviously the weather. But still,
but 2 baptisms.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
2 baptisms
so cool.
was really cool.
Yeah,
so,
it was awesome. Super cool.
So if you are familiar with the podcast, you know that Brooke and I do a thing called Song Spotlight, which we really just highlight a song that we've been listening to a bunch recently. But since this is the last, episode of the year, we're going to do a song spotlight for the year. Like this is going to be our song for the year. So Brooke, I'll let you go first. And you can explain as much as you want to explain.
Or as little, but I won't do that. Yeah. Well, mine came easier than I thought because it's more of a song that had more meaning and like carried me through than it is a song that I'm just like, oh, let's, bop to this for a minute, but my song for the year would definitely be Goodness of God. And I just remember like singing that song with, in the spring, when everything with the adoption situation went, not the way we thought it would. And then I remember singing this song when we found out about just my situation and not knowing what was going to come after that, like with children. And I remember singing that song, when I was a few months pregnant at the time and singing that song this year. But it's just like, it's like I said, it's not a song that I like think of all the time. Be like, oh, let's just, listen to this really fast. Or it's not a go-to worship song always of mine, but like it has carried, the Lord has just always brought that song up at the most perfect times to carry me through different seasons of just still being able to like, he challenges me to be in a place, no matter what my circumstances are, whether they be challenging or whether they be good, but to sing that song and to truly have to mean it, like when you have the responsibility of leading, people, that's the heart posture you want to have. And so he just like he would, but he challenged me to lead that song in different seasons of my life this year. And to still mean like, all my life you've been faithful and all my life you've been so good. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, lyrically, I love that song. It's just good. It's solid. And yeah, no, but that would be my song for the year for sure.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Unexpected.
You did come up with that much. I thought when I was like pitching the idea of, hey, let's do a song of the year, I thought you'd be like, oh my gosh, how am I going to ever pick a song of the year or whatever? And then you were like, yeah, I got mine.
It really was that fast.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, what's sweet is too, Maria does this thing for like her kids and even like me and Ashton, who are like her church daughters, you know, like she will sing a song and like pray a song like over us. And so it's really fun to see like what songs the Lord has given her for all her children. And I just thought, I love that, you know. And so like, you know, just praying with the Lord of like what my song would be for, you know, when we officially, if we get to officially adopt the 3 we have now, and then, you know, to where they are Penensky's and they are ours forever. Like I would be so curious to see what the Lord would give me for them. But then with Nolan, I mean, that he's just made it very clear that, you know, Goodness of God is the song that we get to sing and declare and like, you know, over him. So it's just so cool. So anyways, yeah, but that's my song.
I've got some ideas for the kids.
Matthews would be like something wild, I'm sure.
I've got some ideas. When that time comes, we'll discuss. I'll share. We can share notes and see.
That's hilarious.
See what you think. But yeah,
I love it.
What
about you?
My song,
what's your song?
My song of the year, and it's probably a little bit of recency bias here, but my song of the year would be Gratitude.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. As soon as you said it's recent, I was like, oh yeah, it's Gratitude.
Yeah, no, I think
for sure.
Because really for the last, once I kind of zeroed in and we kind of decided that like that was going to be a part of Christmas, and then we really hadn't done that song much, like in worship. I thought, you know, I kind of made the push to get it out there,
just
you know, to our people, so that it wouldn't be the first time they had heard it at Christmas.
Yeah.
So we did it kind of a lot, but then just going through that season and like, I don't know, the last, especially going through Christmas and, you know, all that goes into that, and then just to know. And then I think that song sums up probably where I'm at in just ministry life in general, you know, like, you know, the lyrics of that song, you know, especially like just the idea of like words fall short, you know, it's really nothing new, you know, and just the idea of the chorus being that like what I have to offer is truly not much, you know, like, but it is what it is, and you accept it anyways, you know. So
what is it? It says like what are the lyrics at I know it's not much, but I've got nothing
else fit for a king.
Else fit for a king. That's what it is. Yeah. That is so good.
Yeah, except for basically a hallelujah.
Yeah, know? Like and just so, like your praise and worship towards him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one, boss.
Yeah. So like that would be mine. Gratitude.
Yeah.
Like, and I really liked that song before going into the year, but then just the way it worked out at the end. So that worked out really well. So that would be mine.
So cool.
That would be mine. So let's talk 2022. Just it could be podcast, it could be ministry. What would be your 20? And I know it's hard. There's a lot. But what would be your 2022 like ministry, podcast, whatever it may be, highlight for you?
I mean, the first one that comes up is for sure Brenda. That's it. That's my...
Just short and sweet.
That's it.
So again, if you guys don't know explain, because some people are like, well, who's Brenda?
I mean, I'm just like, God is so cool. You know, and you sit here and think like, what, you know, every other Friday we get to meet in here, you know, and just talk for a minute. And then other people get the pleasure of listening. I just think who in their right mind would actually want to listen to this podcast? And people do. And the Lord does use it. And it's so cool. And then the coolest way that I think for sure would have been, was it in November?
It was Kept was.
Kept. I was going to say it was the
November,
weekend, the Saturday of Kept. And a few episodes ago, we talked about it. But we met a listener. She was able to come. She drove over an hour to come to Kept, and just with her work schedule and things, she doesn't come or can't come to regular central services on the weekend. But she was like, Kept was a Saturday, and she was going to come to the church in person for the first time. And so she emailed in, and she just said, hey, like, I'm going to be at Kept, you know, would love to meet you guys, you know, whatever, super excited, yada, yada. Well, long story short, like after service, we got to meet her, and hear her testimony and her story. And then we got to baptize her. I mean, what? That is just so cool. So, yeah, I mean, I just think through a podcast, through WSIL, through whatever outlets the Lord uses for like whatever it is we're doing here, that he is so good and so faithful to encourage people. And like you said, it has nothing to do with us. Like people just don't get that, like we're so imperfect humans, but God will have his way. And so it was really sweet I mean, that's for sure, easily like my favorite moment of the podcast of the year.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely hard. That's hard to beat.
It's so, how do you beat that?
Well, probably don't, but yeah. And that's one of the cool things about, we talk about, we say things like Praise Podcast Family and just, different things like that. Like there really is a community that has been and can be built through this, like believe it or not. I mean, they're not our email's not shutting down, but like when we say like email in, like believe it or not, there are people that do that.
Yeah.
And that, that actually do want to have, like have conversation and have, and ask questions. Cool. And so it's, and Brenda is one of those, one of those people who has always been a source of encouragement, for each of us through, this podcast. And it's cool that we've been able to hopefully encourage her a little bit as well. And, being able to meet her in person and then, like I said, baptize her was, I mean, we could end the podcast now and we could say like it was worth however many hours of rambling we've done sitting in this room, because even if it was just for Brenda. And so, Brenda, we know you are listening because you are probably the most faithful listener we have. But so shout out to Brenda. Hope you had a good Merry Christmas. Of course, Brenda was one of the people, she was emailing in about, just encouraging our team and everybody about Christmas. And, she just, there's cool people like that, that we've been able to meet.
That's awesome.
Well, since you took the easiest and best.
You shouldn't have asked me first. What about you?
No, I think one cool thing this year for me is podcast specific. And it was kind of a goal of ours when we even wanted, one of the reasons we even wanted to start this podcast was just all the stories that we were able to tell of whether it's our CA staff or whether it's our creative arts volunteers, just the stories that we were able to hear and share. And, like I think about like Josh and Reagan, when we kind of got into the church hurt stuff and being able to talk with them and really kind of dive into some of that world and just what really is going on there. I think those stories were probably one of my favorite parts of the podcast, just because there's we've such a wide range of people that have come in and we've been able to just sit down and hear their story and hear how, this church or being a volunteer or being on staff has shaped their lives and obviously grown them closer to Jesus. And so I would say for me, that was a cool part.
Yeah. Like the What's Your Story episodes, like those are super fun. And I think even like selfishly, I've appreciated those because every episode, sure. But like when I feel like our people, our regular weekend attendees, like that listen to the podcast, I'm just so appreciative that there's an outlet and a platform for like people to really get to know us better or just to know us at all. I think it's so easy to be on one side of the stage looking at the people who are on the stage. And, you can have these assumptions or these, ideas of who someone is or their story or what they think or how they, how they are as people and blah, blah, blah. And like, I don't know. I think it's been really cool. Like, I guess there've been a handful of people who have just come up to me and like who've brought up like things that we've talked about or that we've said or that will know things about me because of something that I've shared on the podcast. And I'm just like, how cool, because like it is hard to kind of get to know, like we're a big church, and it is hard to have like those opportunities to really, get to hear certain people, I mean, we're singing, leading
Right.
worship. Like we're not teaching and talking and preaching, you know, whatever. So it is a little different, but it's just been,
we're preaching.
We're preaching. But yeah, I think that's just been really cool. I don't know. Like I like to feel known by people. I like to feel understood by people. And granted, both of those things don't always happen, which I understand. But when it does, I just feel like very connected with the people that I'm serving and that I'm leading, and that like we're like, you know, just in ministry together with, or we literally attend church together, whether I'm leading you in worship and you're following suit or not. Like we attend church together, like we're after the same thing. And so it's just really cool to, you know, have, you know, people say things like that too. So I don't know, that has been really awesome, like in an unexpected way of the Lord to kind of use this platform for us too.
Yeah. And we'll have more of those stories to come, as there are many stories yet to be told. We've yet to get Steve on here. Yeah.
I'm going to have to offer him more than a white pie.
We might have to do it. We might have to do it secretly. We might have to have a long conversation with like, we might have to bug his office.
We'll take him to get pie, and as he's eating the pie,
we put a recorder in the pie.
And that's our episode.
And then we have conversation over pie.
Yeah. Dillingham is literally like the most humble person in the whole entire world. He leads our spaceship shuttle in the back for all of our online viewing and everything. Like he's just incredible. But like we've tried to like sweet talk and bribe him to come on to do a podcast episode for truly a year, and he's like, nope, I don't want to do it. He's like, I'm shy, I'm nervous.
Well, and like Steve's like the one person that is so kind and just like you feel bad even like forcing him or pushing him. You know what I mean?
Because like you don't want to, you don't have to.
It's like anybody else, I'd be like if Noah walked in, like I don't want to do it. Like sit down.
Yeah,
you know, like, I don't care
are.
what you want to do. You know what I mean? But Steve, you're just like, no, Steve, you're right. I don't want to make you do that. If you don't want to do that, I don't want to make you do that. So,
but the people need to hear from you, Steve.
That is true.
That
is
funny.
true. But yeah, so we'll have more of those to go. But yeah, it really, I mean, we have really covered just a wide array of topics on this podcast as I think back, and I can only imagine what another year.
Oh man,
another year will bring. But I mean, I think about pickles. I think about just really learning of your Amish upbringing. And,
thank you. Those would be your top
I think
two.
Pickles. I think pickles and yeah, those two would be my favorite. But yeah, no, it's been good. So before we wrap up, what is something that you are, besides the obvious that you're 31 weeks pregnant and you know are going to pop out a kid here in the next couple months. So
it literally will be 8 weeks or less.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Because we have a scheduled C-section that will be for sure at 39 weeks, no later, is what he said the other day when we were there. He's like, unless he comes sooner, but it'll be for sure 39 weeks when, you know, we schedule it. And so I'm like, in 8 weeks or less.
8 weeks, that'd be...
We'll get to like...
You know what's going to happen?
What? It's going to be your birthday?
No.
No,
what? You're gonna go the full time. And instead of my birthday, he's going to be born on like Adrian's birthday.
But what's wrong with that?
I'm just saying.
You're like, but I've been praying for my birthday. Yeah, you're like you said the irony.
Yeah, it's not my
When
birthday.
is Adrian's birthday? Is she
March
January?
27th.
March? Oh, no, it won't be Adrian's birthday. Don't speak that over us.
Wouldn't that be full?
No. March 3rd is our due date. Oh. That's 40 weeks.
Okay, I did wrong math.
Wrong math. Sorry, Adrian.
Okay. Well, so this kid's probably going to be a February birthday then.
Yeah, that is what I'm speaking over his life. Okay. That he is a February birthday. But no offense to those who are born on Valentine's Day, but I'm just like, I will be pregnant.
Yeah, Blakely was almost
like a day later than
she
Valentine's
was almost
Day.
A Valentine's Day baby, but she held on for 3 more. I think actually her due date but she was late. She wanted to bake for a long time.
That is wild.
Yeah. But
props
so what
to
is
Adrian.
so besides
Sorry, what were we talking about?
Well, I was getting ready to ask you a question, but besides that, what is like 2023? What it's not necessarily like a goal or anything like that. It can be if you want, but like what is something that you are looking towards, you're excited about, etc. 2023.
Man, I do feel like the obvious answer would be just meeting Nolan and
yeah, I knew that would be the obvious answer.
Yeah,
so I eliminated
you eliminated that one. honestly, like, just, I guess, in the aspect of thinking about like our family situation, I just last year, I remember I posted on Instagram, and it was just kind of like a declaration for like the upcoming year, like a prayer. And I remember like saying, I honestly, I could probably look it up here in just a second, but I remember saying something along the lines of like that it will be a year of miracles, that like may it be a year that we see more miracles, And when I was writing it, I was thinking more along the lines of just people's healing and deliverances, and like, God just, just doing what he does. Like I didn't know what I was expecting, but just that I knew, I believed that he was a God to still to do miracles, for his children. And so I was kind of reflecting on that the other day, and just thinking like, and like, didn't you answer that prayer? Like the amount of miracles we have seen this year in people's lives, in our own family. I think like there's just like a continuation of expecting God to just really move on our behalf, and just to really, I don't know, just really buy into surrendering to him for what he has for us. And like I said, with family stuff is what I think of, but like for Bryce and Lenny and Matthew, like I could get emotional just thinking about it, but like that's just what we are expecting. Like we are just expecting God to move on their behalf, keeping our hands out of it, and keeping, what we want out of it, or keeping, like any way that we can in our flesh manipulate a situation, or force it to go like one way or the other, whatever. But like we are just trusting God with our children, and just trusting God with what he has, like then for our family unit, like if and as that changes to either direction, but yeah, I don't know. I think 2023 for me, I would just want it to be a year of just surrender and just being in complete awe of like the work that he does when we just stay out of the way. And I know that having a newborn will force me to do that. And the sense of being a business owner, with Mod Threads, and the sense of, working full-time ministry, in which I love and enjoy. And then, you have, your mom life too, where you're trying to do all the things for your kids. I mean, I know that what we're about to walk into, the season we're about to walk into, if I'm going to not go crazy, then like surrender is like, I think my word or my goal, or like just my prayer for 2023. And to expect it to be just full and of joy and of goodness. Because like that's who he is, and that's what he does for us, in our unpredictable seasons and as things change. But yeah, so I don't know if that really answers your question. I kind of started to preach for a second, but it's fine. You get it.
Yeah. No,
but
I think it does. No,
what about you? So what did you ask me? What was my goal for the year? I don't even remember.
No, I just said it was something you're looking forward to.
Okay, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing just the Lord do what he does best, and allowing him to do so. But yeah, now you answer that question.
I'm going to stop letting you go first, because I always feel like mine are a lot less like, I don't know. There's just so much less like emotion.
Go ahead, say it.
Depth,
just say it.
But
oh, that was actually kind of a compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But no, it's just it's the woman thing, You just are so much more. 2023, I'm looking forward to experiencing emotion for the first time.
Yes, I've given Eric the contact information for my counselor.
Oh, yeah. I feel like we would just have a good time. We would end up just chatting. But anyways, no, I think for me, I am looking forward to, I feel like, for so long now, for really 2 years, and really even almost longer, almost 2.5 years. I feel like this, like this whole transition thing, and this whole just, of like changes at our church and staff and just all that kind of stuff, has been as we've moved with, our old senior pastor retiring, and, John stepping in, and just, all the new roles and all the new things has felt like we've been in that season for so long. And I feel like now it's kind of like, okay, everything's in place. Like everybody's in place, you know, like we've been doing this for almost 2 years now. Like the transition is kind of done. You know what I mean? Like you've either gotten on board or you've gotten off board.
Sure.
And it's like, it's all
and that's like also to interrupt, but to clarify, that's across the board. You know, not just CA, like not just the team you lead, but it is staff in general, elders in general, you know, our church body and family in general. Like it's the whole central family. You're right. Like that have had to go through that transition. It's like you're either on board with the Holy Spirit is doing or you're not. But like you said, we're all kind of in place, like ready for like what he's about to do. So,
So I feel like that is like, that's all shaken out however it's going to shake out. You know, like at this point, it's not new. It's not like, it's just like, that's where we're at, you know? And so now I feel like now it's kind of like, okay, we can kind of almost put that lingo and that, just all of that stuff behind us. Not that you just, you know, that it's just in the past, but it's kind of in the past, you know, like this is where we're going. And this, you know, we have our direction, we have our people, and now it's time. Like, I feel like now I feel like we've been a boat that's been at dock for like a while, because it's like, okay, you know, we've got this boat, we've got a new captain. If you want on board, like kind of here's, you know, we're not taking off for a while, but you get to come on and decide if you want in or you don't, or you can take a different boat, whatever. And now it's like time for the boat to set sail. Like we've decided that like, okay, you've had your chance. You're either on board or you're not. And for those that are on board, it's time to set sail and it's time to go. And so I feel like that's what this year has the potential, and what I'm praying and I expect it to be, that it's just a year of like, okay, that's all done. Everybody's on firm ground now. Let's hit the ground running.
Yeah, it's like the Lord had to take his time in helping maneuver things that needed to be maneuvered, but like laying the groundwork, building the foundation. And I do understand what you're saying with that. And I do feel like that is kind of, and I agree with you. I do feel like we're kind of to the point where like foundation has been built, and now it really is time to just like build upward and onward, you know, like really like, I mean, that's exactly it. Like foundation is done. We're laid, we're solid, like by the power of the Holy Spirit. Like, what do you have for us in this new season, Lord? And I mean, and he's going to show us, and it's going to be so good. And we'll listen back to this episode, you know, a year from now and be like, wow, we had no idea all that he would do in 2023. Yeah. So, but we're expecting it. So we're expecting him to do some really cool stuff.
Yeah. I think we've learned plenty of times that, you know, only we can limit, you know, like what we think God can do. You know, like and so I don't know. I'm really looking forward to 2023. I'm really excited about it. I think there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of strides and steps forward that, you know, we're going to attempt to take. And I think it's going to be not without difficulty and not without, you know,
a lot
stuff,
of hard work.
But that's just part of it. But
for sure.
I think it'll be worth it. So I'm very much, even though I will have to survive like 2 months without Brooke, but but we'll be knocking on her door come week, whatever it is.
Yeah, it would be like we'll get home from the hospital, and Eric and Adrian will be over with coffee. Like
probably so.
How you feeling? Yeah. Do you really care? Or are you just ready for me back at work?
Yeah.
Both.
No, both. I do care. But I am ready. But I will care.
That's funny. So if you praying people listening, I need to be back by Easter. So
that is the goal. But we're not rushing.
Yeah,
we're not rushing.
Yeah.
But
anyways, it's so cool. It's so fun.
It would be fun we'll just put a pack and play in the back.
Make it work.
No one can just chill back there, and we'll be like, Mom will be back in an hour.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean,
We'll see.
That's basically what we do with our kids now. We just basically lock them in a room and be like, hey, we'll be back.
And then they're like, okay. And then we go work.
It's like, there's snacks out there. There's water.
Yeah. If you want to come wear shit, come out there. But
well, Blakely just finds herself on stage now. She just walks out on stage whenever she wants to.
She did. So. She joined the choir real fast the other day. Yeah. That was awesome.
That was, she came in the back. It was Thursday night at Christmas when it was a very because of the snow and it was just a much more laid back Christmas atmosphere than typical because we knew crowds would be way down and it was just kind of, whatever. So Blakely came to the back and she was hanging out in the back for the 8:00 service because they had attended the 6. And then I was like, all right, yeah, you can stay back here. But I was like, we're all going to go out on stage. So you got to stay back here and hang out. Okay. Well, I'm out there, and then sure enough, I turn around, we're halfway into the deal, and I go,
yep.
Blakely's front row of the choir, just standing out there.
Yeah, you turn around, you took your ears out, and you're like, Blakely's literally at the choir right now. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Turn around, and there she is, living her best life.
Yeah. I asked them, I was like, how did she get out here? They go, I don't know. She just lined up and walked out there. And so
you're like, okay.
Yeah, whatever. So it's hard to I guess that's when you're like pastor's kid when you're getting in trouble for joining the church choir. That's when you're disobeying by joining the choir. But yeah, Bo on the other hand, he'll be a different story.
He'd have stolen Danny's drumsticks.
Yeah, we'll be
made a scene.
We'll be begging him to come. But yeah,
so funny.
But hopefully you had a great year. I'm sure for a lot of you it was a difficult year and a lot of difficulties, and you may be mourning. 2022 may have been what you would define as the worst year ever, and for some of you, 2022 you might say is the best year ever. And regardless of that, it doesn't change who God is and the plans that God has for you, and the plans that can and will be carried out, but it does require some faith and some trust and us seeking God and His will. And oftentimes, probably a good chance it will look different than what you would hope or expect. But in the end, I think we both can attest to that it will be better, and it will be worth the wait. It will be worth the difficulties, the trials, the wilderness seasons, whatever you want to call it. In the end, God's plan is worth it, and He is faithful, and He is somebody we can trust. And so, no matter what 2022 looked like for you, we're praying that 2023 would be a year that we all seek God more, that we trust Him more, and that we really do believe He is who He says He is. Because I think if we really buy into that, then the rest just will follow very, very naturally. So we thank you all for being a part of Praise Podcast fam for 2022, and we are looking forward to season 2, which will start mid-January in 2023, and we're looking forward to more fun, more stories, more songs, more craziness, more random things, maybe a new type of thing to pickle. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we're really looking forward to
for sure.
Just seeing where, again, we have no agenda with this podcast. We have no hopes and dreams of quitting what we do to just sit here and talk all day. But it literally selfishly is as much an outlet for just Brooke and I to just ramble and get things off our mind as it is for you guys to even listen to. But we're glad that you do, and we're very thankful that you take part in listening and that you share, and that a lot of you have in fact become friends and family, and that you guys encourage, and we're looking forward to more of that, meeting more of you in 2023, and putting faces to emails and things like that, and looking forward to seeing what God does. It's gonna be good. So here's to 2023 and more stuff, and season 2. So yeah, we appreciate you all for listening, and stay tuned for more to come from the Praise Podcast. But until then, let's be people in every day, in every way, bring the praise. We'll see you soon.